He's on lockdown, and he's full of it. It's time for BSing with Big Nate.
Friday the 13th, March 2020. The Jasons were on their way to a show in Delaware. En route, the show gets canceled, but out of true rock and roll fashion, the show must go on, and the Jasons quickly announce they'll be doing a live web stream from their basement. Out of tragedy comes triumph, and today I'm joined by Jason V, frontman and singer for the Jasons.
And I'm being joined by frontman Jason V for the inaugural edition of BS with Big Nate. Jason, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for asking me. I cleared out my very busy schedule of sitting here in sweatpants to sit here in sweatpants some more and converse with you a little bit. So no fucking problem.
No, I absolutely appreciate it. I want to start things off with Delaware because this is kind of what got me started on this whole kick. It's Friday the 13th. The Jasons. Seems natural that a show has to happen on Friday the 13th. So first and foremost, how close were you to the venue?
So we were in Maryland. We were probably like still 2.5 hours out. And like the night before we were, chatting back and forth with the promoter and stuff. And I was talking to 3D, our bass player, and I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to happen. Like I could tell the promoter, like, he doesn't know if he's going to have a turnout, but he doesn't want to piss us off. And we're like, I think sometimes promoters think that if they, like, I think he maybe thought it was like, if it gets canceled, we're going to be mad. But I mean, it was like the whole fucking world was falling down around us. But I was like, dude, if he doesn't cancel, we're not going to cancel. But it was obvious that it was going to happen at some point. But we were like, we're going to drive as far as we can. And if it gets canceled, it gets canceled, so.
Do you get that call? You get told, hey, show's not happening. How quickly do you guys jump into gear and say, all right, F it, we're doing it in the basement?
Yeah, that's always the Jason's method of attack. Like, it's like not dwelling on whatever negative thing happens, because chaos and insanity seems to follow us wherever we go. It's our own fault sometimes, but. So it was just always immediately like, okay, well, that's not going to work. What are we going to do? And I mean, we've got a sound engineer in the band. He has video equipment. Of course, the thing that got us on that live stream was a laggy internet connection. But yeah, it was just like, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, we're going to do something. It's Friday the 13th. So
I appreciate that DIY attitude. You guys had a little bit of everything going on. I, of course, shared it with everyone I knew, and the big takeaway, my dad he's the one who introduced me to harder rock, and he was a big fan of the virtual merch store.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys did special VIP tickets with the posters that I know you're mailing out. You guys do your updates, letting us know, and you guys did all kinds of stuff going. Even a light show. Now, were the lights already set up, or did you get back to the basement like, all right, we got to get all this going?
Yeah, it was like, okay, well, we've got an hour left to drive. And then it was like one of us, drove and got the sound equipment. The rest of us went and set everything up. I personally, being the most least proficient at doing anything setting up wise, I just ordered pizza and set up the merch booth, which was fine. But yeah, and that was the thing. It was like, I didn't want us to do something that was just like, I wanted it to be memorable, and we don't want to beg for money. So we were like, okay, we'll do free show, but then if you buy the ticket, we'll send you the ticket. Of course, in light of the, quarantine, it became like a whole fucking like problem to even get something printed, because all of our print shops closed down. I had to order the tickets. They came in, they were too flimsy for our liking. So then I had to go find another place locally and beg them to let me get, copies. And then we had to get everybody to sign it. So virtual merch store was cool. But as with many things, I didn't realize how much shit was going to crumble after the corona happened. But we got it figured out now. We got all the tickets. We got them all signed by all the band members. We got all the posters. Everything's good to go. So it worked out.
That's what I share. I do have to ask, do you know at the end of the show, for anyone who's watching and hasn't seen it yet, first, before you go any further, head over to the Jason's Facebook, give it a watch. It's still up there. But at the end, something happened and I need to know who the hell called the cops.
I mean, it's hard to know because I live in suburbia now. Ever since, you can't stay at camp forever, right? So I moved into suburbia, and there's just a bunch of old people, but I mean, they're all pretty cool. So I don't know. I don't know who called the cops, but there really was no better end to that because I mean, we were, wearing the police hat and singing about seeing police, and he probably thought we were mocking the police because he came in and it was just insanity and police lights were going. But he had a giant smile on his face and he was just like, "Yo, can I just get a picture of you guys?" So it was exactly what we needed to happen at the end. Yeah.
He's the most fitting ending to like that I've ever seen in my life. Which brings me to my next question. I know we're social distancing. We're all trying to be responsible, but do you guys have any tricks up your sleeves for hell, at least here in Virginia, until like June the 10th? You guys got anything in the works?
The only thing I think most of us originally, when it first started, we were going to go ahead and expedite the recording of our next record because our next record is going to be a double live album, but it's going to be done in the way that all great live albums have been done, which is artificially. So it's going to be called The Jasons It's a Lie. And we're just going to, record it and then make the show as big as we want to make it, like explosions and, the old, what the Huntingtons did, what Typo Negative did, a fake live record. So we thought, well, let's do that. But at this point, I mean, like the social distancing thing is so severe and we don't want to rush it. And there's a lot of things even with that would be hard to do. So I think as far as Jason's stuff, we're just trying to, continue making merch that people can use, which is why we're, putting out sweatpants because that's what everybody's fucking wearing now. And, stuff like that. And then, I was talking to Jason 3D today and he's an artist, so he's been painting and we've all been working on like music separately and stuff. So, I mean, we're trying to keep busy and keep the band alive, but I'm trying to avoid being one of the guys that just plays acoustic guitar all day and asks for money. I don't want the Jasons to do that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't want it. We have to do something different. You know what I mean? We have to do something different. So. I may have lost you there for a second. So I'm going to pretend that you asked me what the greatest thrash metal band of all time is, and I'm going to say Demolition Hammer.
Now, for the fourth time, I'm going to go ahead and try and ask this cursed question. Non-Jason stuff, what are you doing past time in isolation?
Non-Jason stuff, I don't know, man. If I don't do something every day that I feel is productive, I start to go crazy, like really. So, we're working on non-Jason stuff. I mean, I'm always working on some sort of weird, music thing or whatever. But then, I've been trying to do some content for the Jason's YouTube page. I reviewed some fucking Striper records. And I reviewed a Huntington's record. I'm probably going to finish my review of those Striper records for Easter, of course. And then, start, I don't know, maybe doing some more content like that. I found that now that I'm stuck inside, even the things that I normally do, like if I'm going to read some like British comics or something that I normally would do, I can't even do it because I feel like I'm wasting my time. So every day I'm just trying to do something creative. And I think everybody is, man. I think it's just like, if you don't, especially for me, because I'm not going anywhere every day. I'm used to going out and about and stuff, and it's just not happening now. So anything I can do to stay creative. But, the Jasons is always like that program running in the background. We're working on a split with the Black Russians. So we're still working on trying to get that out. And figuring out what merch we're going to do next, because that's another way we're keeping it alive, by keeping our merch going out and stuff.
All right, that's what I like to hear. So now we're gonna have a little fun. We're gonna get to the BS portion. We had 2 games I want to play with real quick. If you're game, we're gonna start. The first one, real simple concept, is time machine. We got a time machine, and we're gonna put you in a couple scenarios. First one, if you could go back in time and tell 10-year-old Jason V one thing, what would it be?
Oh man. Okay, so I can only tell 10-year-old Jason V one thing. God, that's tough, man. I mean, I feel like I would probably tell myself not to go fucking swimming. That would make a lot of sense. It probably would have saved me a lot of trouble, but no, let me see, for real. Other than not going swimming, I would tell myself maybe not to I tell myself not to release Stalkin' Slash Summer, because that record sounds like shit, and we're gonna re-record it. So there you go.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, though. I love Stalkin' Slash Summer.
I know, it's weird, man. Like it hurts our ears because it's not what we wanted, but a lot of people like it. So it's
is this from a musical standpoint or production mixing? Like, what do you guys about it?
Yeah, it's just a production standpoint. Like, we're happy with the songs, but I think, it was really a rushed record, and I don't feel like the production was very it wasn't handled by someone who cared too much about it. So it's weird, because I think like one of our most popular songs is on there, Camp Arawak. And but it's also like for us, when we listen to it, we hate the sound of it. But it's cool that other people like it. I mean, it's the same thing. I see that with a lot of bands. My favorite Queers record is Move Back Home, and apparently Joe Queer says he hates that one. So I guess it's just it's at least it's good for some people.
I think it's different between the inside and the outside. Yeah. So we're in the same time machine here. You can go back in time. Leave one item anywhere in time. Where, what, and when.
Oh man!
Open the item up. You're not sticking around to see what happens.
Okay. Let me think here. I've got to use my powers for good. Let me think. I can drop one item off. I would probably take a time machine all the way back to when Dee Dee Ramone was about to record his solo record. And I don't want to erase that solo record, right? I don't want to erase that solo record, but what I'd like to do is take a copy of Dee Dee's solo record and drop it off before he made the solo record. So maybe he would have had some perspective on, like, leave that off, leave this off. Because I think Dee Dee had real skills, but maybe the whole mixing of doo-wop and hip-hop was not a good idea on his part, But we got the Crusher out of that.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we got the Crusher.
So on to my second game. This is rapid fire. I want you to answer these questions as quickly as possible. Not a lot of thought into it. No reasoning. So we're going to start with an easy one. Boxers or briefs?
Briefs.
Who wins in a fight, Jason Voorhees or Rambo?
Rambo.
Same question, but the Ramones are the original Misfits.
Who wins in a fight, the Ramones? You know what? The Ramones always win.
Which Kiss member, best face paint?
Vinnie Vincent.
That's an unconventional choice. I guarantee you I could ask that question to 100 people. And three of you would say it. I like it. That's the one with the Ankh or Ankh, whatever the Egyptian was. Yeah, I remember Vinny.
In a world where everybody else has black and white, why not have gold, right?
This is true. What is your favorite on-screen kill?
Favorite on-screen kill is going to be Hatchet 2. When Victor Crowley chainsaws 2 guys in the nuts with a giant chainsaw.
And last but not least, what's the first thing you're going to do when this quarantine is over?
Ah, god damn. Probably play a show, I guess. I mean, we have shows booked all the way out, and it's just like every week we just shave more shows off, but it's highly likely that whatever week it's over, we will have a show. So hopefully that's what happens, you know.
That's what I like to hear. Thank you for joining me. Before we get off here, go ahead where they can find you, what they need to be looking for out on Facebook, Twitter, what have you.
Yeah, you can find the Jasons on Facebook. You just type in the Jasons and look for the guys in hockey masks and leather jackets. You can find our web store at thejasons.bigcartel.com. That's where you can get all that vinyl, t-shirts, all that stuff. We're on Spotify, Pandora, all that other bullshit. If you don't like physical media, we're there for you. And we're on Bandcamp. So there you go.
Plenty of places to find them. We'll go ahead and we'll post the link above, and we'll get you all set. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.